mouth, better add your respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off in my brain and I'm bad to the bone.
Welcome back, guys. It's time for the solo match, round of 16. It's losers here. So if you lose today, if you make bottom 4, you are out of the tournament. The players who reach top 4, however, will have that chance, the final match of the round of 16, to advance to top 8.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the end here for the solos. If we take a look at the path getting to this point, everything is on the line for these fellas right here, right now. Round of 16 losers match. You got to advance from here or you are out, just as Wolf said. And it's kind of an interesting setup that we have in terms of this one, just because Cool won those 3 tracks in a row. We have some very unexpected players. We're going into the fan votes at this very start of this show, and actually the Gold Racer Will had something like, what was it, 3% of the overall vote? Which
Very
is
low.
just absolutely absurd. We've never seen anything like that here at the KDL. As we look at the track best record, of course, the player that holds the most records on tracks will have, I think it's a 500,000 Korean won prize at the end of the season, which is just shy of $500 US. So
right now, Cool and Neil are battling neck and neck for it. Neil has 4, Cool has 3. And you can see there are a few other players, tossed into here. Hyunsu Luning won, Boom having won, ByungSu as well. So here's the round of 16 status, so to speak. Of course, the round of 16 winners match here had Cool, Neil, Hero, and Nock advancing. The losers match will have the players who advanced today, the top 4 players here, playing against Hyunsu, Boom, Luning, and Sungbin in the final match.
Yeah, that final match will be kind of the same story here of the losers match. Bottom 4 out of the tournament, top 4 will join everybody else in the final. So really only a couple of solo matches left as we're starting to wind down, and that prize pool looking very promising for these fellas. A lot of rookies too here in the losers match would love to make a finals appearance, some of them for the first time in their careers. So a lot of hopes at stakes, some underdogs and some legends competing today. Should be a really fun solo match. You know, one of the more exciting losers matches that we've had in the round of 16, if you look back to preseason 1 and preseason 2, is this one truly has a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and break down some of the racers we're going to have, or all of the racers, in order by seed. Will, with the highest average points, 3.64 in a crazy group. He will just sneak in here as the gold racer, extremely young racer. And we'll see if he can actually make waves tonight. He represents We Might, Not Might, and see if he can get it done. Again, one of the rarer gold racers to see someone so young and so inexperienced. Striker will be our black racer as well, calling on his team for strength.
Yeah, big rep there for Team Desperado. And Striker's gonna see if he can make it into this one. Coming in as the 2nd seed, the black racer. He doesn't have the benefits of the map selection that perhaps Will does here as the 1st seed coming in, but a lot of respect on him. What are these glasses Ding is wearing, man? Oh, they light up.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
These are so trendy right now in esports in Korea. People are just loving to use these anime glasses, as I like to call them. Yeah.
It's the first time I've seen that, man. You can tell I haven't been in the loop.
Well, Ding, he's been in the loop for a while. Surprised he's here in the losers match, but he did kind of get unlucky in his group. As AcidFly as well, a player I followed since preseason 1, a player I think definitely has a lot of potential, but did seed here into top 4, is the white racer for this one. Definitely one of the biggest underdogs. I think had the least fan vote, actually, out of all racers today.
Yeah, I think people almost criminally underrate AcidFly. He's actually a fantastic speed racer, and I think he has a good chance to advance, but perhaps not as high a chance as this guy right here, HoJun. It was like something 60%.
60, yeah, nearly. I think it was like 58.
Yeah, like almost 60% of fans expect HoJun to advance from this group in first place, as he really didn't have a very good round of 16 match 2, I have to say. It seemed like he was off to a great start every single track, and then he would find some mistake towards the end and ended up at the bottom of the leaderboard because of that. So ByungSu now also coming in. ByungSu, formerly known as Speed in KDL Preseason 1, and I also believe KDL Preseason 2 said, I couldn't even warm up my hands because we only played 3 rounds.
Yeah,
Come
well,
on, cool.
At least he got, time to warm up today, but, he had some rough races. He's coming off of that loss, so he's going to have to put that behind him and focus on solos. It's not about his team right now. It's about him as World. Let's have a match with no regrets. Also underperforming in his last match there. And he got 7th place.
I mean, it's the same story, right? I mean, Cool wins 3 tracks in a row, and in 3 tracks, it's such a small sample size. There's so much variance. It's really hard to actually be able to deliver the points necessary. And JiMin, who often plays the pension meta heading into the finals, seems to be a finalist in almost every single solo season that we have, got -2 points in his group. -2. That's what happens sometimes when you have 3 tracks. JiMin, trying to play the pension meta, got a 7th place, an 8th place, and an 8th place. But let me tell you, he is absolutely capable of advancing from this group despite that poor performance in his previous one. And really, I think all bets are off. HoJun absolutely a favorite to advance, World a favorite to advance, but there are so many storylines at play, rookies and veterans clashing here. Who is going to join in the final match? Let's start and find out. WKC Mexico Touring Rally.
Here we go. It's off to the races here for our lower bracket, the round of 16. HoJun taking the lead here with DDING. A pretty competitive start to this race here. DDING, the red racer, actually way out in front now. Take this first major turn.
Yeah, and Will, the gold racer coming in, this is his map selection. That is the benefit that you have as the #1 seed, but he has not had the start he was hoping for. All the way down in 7th place is DDING, HoJun, and ByungSu. Changing hands a little bit here in the top 3. The legend himself, the Emperor, trying to take that first place spot. And let me remind you, the previous group, HoJun had a lot of starts like this. He was contesting the podium finishes. He was contesting even first place quite often. And then towards the end of the track, he would falter, he would make mistakes, he would flip balls, he would have bad collisions. Is that going to be the story today?
Well, it could be, but at least for his sake, maybe this is a 1-lap track. So usually it was the 2nd or 3rd lap where he faltered.
Yeah,
so
true.
1-lapper this time around, less time to make those mistakes. And he's going to hold his own here. Look for that nitro boost here. Perhaps taking the higher ground. Actually, no, decides to go on the lower and block his opponents here. A great reaction there from HoJun. Realizing what his opponents wants, he's blocking well here. Got 1 nitro left. We're getting very close to the end here.
Man, HoJun taking some phenomenal lines. They're not optimal. They block a ton. And so up until this point, HoJun been in a really great position as we get closer and closer. HoJun actually with a greedy play trying to go for the nitrous is going to boost down the final stretch. JiMin in the lead. Might be able to take first place. Is there enough boost from World? No, there is not. So JiMin, who entered this one with -2 points from round of 16 match #1, will take the first track. And this is what I was saying, man, is you look at the stats, -2 points in any group. I don't know if I've ever seen that in any KDL solo group.
It is wild to see. I mean, we've seen it with some of our really inexperienced racers, but nobody like JiMin, right? Ends up taking the first one here as the orange racer. So from 8th seed to first here to start things off. HoJun, look at his the difference between him and World and the difference between HoJun and DDING. DDING also almost passing HoJun. 2, 3, and 4 couldn't have been closer there, so it was really just a race for second there. And very, very close. HoJun will end up crossing there across the line second, picking up those points. Very close for him. He was almost able to take the whole thing, but took some greedy lines there trying to defend. JiMin actually capitalized on it.
Yeah, HoJun with a great start, but only a top 4 as JiMin, the underdog coming in, the 8th seed, is able to take track #1. His map selection is World Tour Miami Drive as the round of 16 losers match continues. Let's see if JiMin can repeat his performance. Formerly kind of a pension meta sort of fella. coming into this one, but with that first place position in track number 1, might see him change his game plan a little bit here as we are taking the first couple of turns. Will flipping the wall just a little bit there as Striker, DDING, and ByungSu round out the top 3.
Yeah, JiMin actually sitting all the way back in 8th and used his nitro aggressively earlier too, so he's about a whole nitro behind most of the other racers right now, or 2/3 you could say, so he is really going to struggle to catch up. You can see how far behind he is actually of AcidFly on the mini-map. DDING, meanwhile, with a very nice lead, had to use an extra nitro to hold it here. If he can actually hold these lines and make sure nobody interrupts him from getting these boosts, he should be able to hold this lead regardless. Very close though. ByungSu actually going to take it away from him.
Yeah, and actually it is so cluttered here that I think there might be enough traffic, enough collisions, at least micro collisions, that JiMin is going to be a threat in lap number 2, man. I am calling that right now. He might be in 8th place, but I think he has a chance to break the top 4. He is coming closer and closer, but for now, entering lap number 2, it is Striker in first place as we enter these follow-up boosts. These players avoiding that one so they can take this turn a little bit more effectively.
Yep, ByungSu here and Striker battling it out. DDING looking to try to force his way through here. And again, Will with an extra boost. Let's see if he can actually make it worth it here. Not quite going to be able to get what he was looking for. Maintains top 3 here, but it's DDING just really pulling ahead. It's a very similar story to our first track here. Now going to try to find his way up. He has that extra nitro. And it's not able to stay in draft range.
JiMin is sneaking up on everybody though, man, all the way back in the 3rd position as he's trying to drafting it closer and closer as we enter the final sections. And what a phenomenal line. JiMin right behind DDING right now. HoJun is able to work his way into first place and now going to try and play a little bit of defense, see if he can hold on to that one down the final stretch. And he is able to block these players out, but it's Will who has the upper hand.
Oh, that block is tragic for JiMin. Will, he actually blocks and will take his place as the gold racer here, going from -1 to 9 points. The rookie comes back, but man, that one line we saw from JiMin is like unlike anything I have ever seen in solos. Taking that corner, sliding through. That's exactly how he got first place in the previous track. He saw HoJun go for that green line for just 1 second, and he went around that corner tight, bounced off the wall. JiMin is racing out of his mind tonight, but it will be Will, who actually sets a new track record here as well. Takes HoJun's away here on Miami Drive.
By almost a second, too. That's actually phenomenal there for Will, as he had a fantastic race. I love what we saw from JiMin, too. It was a poor start. He was in 8th place, but he was able to work his way through the traffic. If it wasn't for that one final hiccup entering the home stretch of the final lap, I feel like he could have gotten a podium finish, but instead, it's a pretty tight race right now at the top of the standings. We'll see who's going to take the lead as we get ready to go into lap number 3.
Here we go. It's going to be Glacier snowbound slopes here to see if Will can do it again here. The gold racer, the underdog, the rookie. Can he win back-to-back? Let's find out. Track 3 underway here on Glacier Snowbound Slopes. Will, the unlikely hero, let's see if he can continue the story. All eyes on this very young player, younger than HoJun's debut. We've talked about this a lot, but if you're watching for the first time, HoJun's been playing kart rider professionally longer than Will has been alive. Just say it as plainly as possible. We'll see how he does here on this 2-lapper.
By a couple of years, too, yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Will is a really young rookie with a ton of potential, and even after not the best start, able to work his way quickly into a podium finish. You see how easily he's able to navigate these clusters as we now enter the downslopes. JiMin once again in first place, DDING and World right behind him though. World going for the outer line. Not the best angle of attack, and now DDING blocking him out will take a little bit of his momentum away.
Yeah, JiMin here. See if he can hold on to this one. ByungSu taking this outer, just avoiding all the chaos. JiMin trying to block, but he won't be able to block this outer line that ByungSu has taken.
And I think it's a smart play to try and avoid these collisions, as although the nitrous gauge doesn't get depleted anymore by those, you still lose a little bit of momentum, especially in solo matches. It can be very tricky because you don't have your team to rely on. It's all about you performing individually. So bigger fights when you absolutely need to should be the name of the game.
You'll lose a lot of max speed that way as well, so it'll take some time to rebuild that, as no one's really building pension like InSu did back in preseason 1 in these solo matches. It's just too risky. You lose too much momentum with those changes you were talking about. ByungSu trying to break through, but DDING is actually not only challenging JiMin, but also threatening him at the same time. This allows HoJun to actually find his way through.
Yeah, DDING and ByungSu fighting a little bit right there. Made this much more clever than it was once before, and JiMin solidifying his position here in first place just a bit. ByungSu navigating that very well. As we enter this jump, we'll see if anyone's able to take the lead there from JiMin. It seems like no. As we enter the downslope, Nitrous Gauge very even among these top racers.
Yeah, JiMin here looking for his second win here of this round of 16 losers match, but Ding hot on his heels, needs to block and take that tight line, but he goes too tight on the return. Is it still may be enough though, actually, for him to take this one? No nitro left, one left for him.
Yeah, it was a little bit of momentum loss as ByungSu is to be able to take the momentum down this downslope. Ding gonna try and go in for the trap, but ByungSu with excellent blocking, able to take the first place position. HoJun and JiMin will round out the top 4 there, along with Ding, who placed it second, as this losers match is very competitive, Wolf.
Yeah, it really is. This is one of the more competitive solos we've seen, especially when you look at these top 4s. Usually someone pulls ahead towards the end of a track, but we're seeing blocks like this is item mode, okay? The final few seconds right before the checkered flag, and we're seeing, you know, sub 0.1 differences here in terms of first to second, second to third, and things like that. ByungSu takes this win. Actually, it's going to push him up to 5th place here. Very competitive. Will also dropping down to the back after that win there. Had a great start, but didn't actually stick the landing in this one. So very competitive, especially around these top 4s.
Yeah, only about 4 or 5 points separating positions 4, 5, and 6, if I'm not mistaken. So really anyone's game, and a solo match that seems like it might really go the distance. We don't have any one player running away with this. I feel like this lobby is so competitive. It's unlikely we're gonna have any racer pick up 3 tracks in a row. So this is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's see who's gonna take the lead as we move on to the next track, Mine Gold Rush. JiMin and HoJun tied at 17 points apiece. As we continue on here in the solos, keep in mind, top 4 from this group will advance into the final match that will seed into the grand finals. Bottom 4 are out of the solo tournament.
I think JiMin has constantly been this underdog that has made it to the finals before. He has been a player that surprises people because he's held that moniker of item ace for so long for Live Sandbox, even after swapping to being a regular racer. I feel like that's his identity more than his solos, but he's showing once again in this losers match that he's not a force to be underestimated. He's now top 2 here in this 4th track, and he's holding his own. Will, on the other hand, struggling to break through, taking safer lines, but safe lines aren't always going to cut it in a group this competitive.
And Striker here in first place, but it's very hotly contested. HoJun actually taking the better line. We'll be able to unseat him into first, but I mean, we just keep changing hands. Striker there on the outside might be able to find a first place position again, but it feels like every couple of seconds somebody else is finding the angle, and that's kind of the way this one goes on Mine Gold Rush. It's one of the fastest maps that we have here in Kart Rider Drift because of the downslope. As that was a tough collision there for Ding.
Yeah, but he will be able to bounce back here. He handled it really well. The recovery was good, but lost a lot of momentum. Let's see if he can draft off of HoJun here. ByungSu also an obstacle for him to pass. Is AcidFly actually going to make his entry into top 3 here briefly. HoJun, almost a little bit too greedy on those inners, and now AcidFly going to punish him for it. Good read by AcidFly. Now he's going to take first.
Yeah, that was a fantastic angle of attack that AcidFly took. At 7 points, would love to compound that one all the way up to 17 to make this an even tighter race. It is so close, 100 meters to go. AcidFly has just enough speed. No, it's actually Striker who's gonna go from 0 to 10 in total. AcidFly from 7 will pick up a ton more points. And we have a lot of players. In fact, the top 3 in this lobby, or the bottom 3 in the standings overall.
Yeah.
So we were already talking about coming into this track how this feels like it's the closest group that we've had in solos in quite a while. And Wolf, it just got a lot closer.
It really did. And also with that collision, HoJun drops down to 5th overall in this one. So you can see he's actually still first place, but AcidFly exploiting a weakness there of HoJun that we've been watching a lot here in these solos, in that he likes to take the tightest line no matter what. And in Kart Rider League, that was always the play. Collisions meant a lot less back then, but got to be careful about those. You can get punished hard.
And 2nd to 6th right now is 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. It feels like a really bad episode of Sesame Street, but here we are, man. The race is continuing on. It is unbelievably close here as all these racers are fighting for their tournament life. We're going to continue now as we move on to WKC Brazil Circuit.
Off we go, round 5 here of the round of 16 losers match. Striker takes it, and now we'll start off in 8th place, but it's Brazil circuit. There's a lot of space to catch up, but I mean, this is the type of group that you dream of if you want to see close races. As we've been talking about, it is just so rare. Everyone has a storyline here. Everyone is coming from a different background. You've got several underdogs. AcidFly in here. You've got Will, the rookie, who's now the gold racer here by averages. World, the veteran. I mean, we're just watching him change places here in first in this 2-lap track. Back to back.
This is what, track number 5 right now?
Yeah.
And the highest point getter is HoJun with 20. We have minimum, or maximum, wait, what am I trying to say? We have at least 3 more tracks to play. So there's a bit of a loss for words there, but continuing on here on Brazil circuit, yeah, it's probably 4 at least. I wouldn't be surprised if we got even more. As ByungSu right now trying to hold on to this first place. Now here on Brazil circuit, there are quite a few different lines you can take on these turns, especially closer to the end of the track. So look to see some of these players try to avoid the traffic, trying to take some of these off-road turns. Anything can really happen here, and look at how close it is. Not just in the points on the scoreboard, but on screen right now, ByungSu has barely any lead at all. Now, DDING with a little bit of a rough collision there. We'll try to recover, but man, close race.
DDING's going to really hate himself for that one because it's going to cost him not only a ton of speed there, but also his boost. He had to nitro off of that to recover, so you can see he's kind of behind in terms of other racers like AcidFly built up 2. He's going to try to use one to grab this 2nd place here and pass ByungSu as well. AcidFly really performing. Suddenly he's found his mojo, he's found his confidence here. HoJun, again, taking the tightest line possible. That is what he does.
What a fantastic line there by AcidFly. Able to take it to first place, and then once again, going in all the way on the wide angle. Is that going to be able to convert a win? Man, AcidFly just threaded the needle twice. It felt like he was coming from off screen with how wide those shots were, and he just completely takes the wind out of HoJun sails. JiMin and World will round out the top 3, but AcidFly, I love this little, he's flying, man. He's flying, man. What a great finish from him, and look at that smile on his face. That is a smile of pride because he got the record so well in the last couple of turns. I'm at like a loss for words for how well he was able to navigate those, and he gets the record in the track too. I mean, my goodness, what a performance. Now tied in first place, but look at how close this is.
He's like electricity, man. He's gonna take the path of least resistance. Like, he is just finding these angles where he's blocking people while also taking really efficient paths and then using people to gain momentum. He is actually insane with how he's racing tonight. Who is this player? I mean, we've known him as a good sweeper. He's been on multiple strong teams in Team League, but to see performances like this in solo, we have not seen. First time we've seen him flapping up there on the stage because he's not getting many first place finishes. Let's see if he can get it back-to-back here as we move into World Tour. Terracotta Twister.
Continuing on here in the round of 16, so unbelievably close. Acid able to take the victory there in the previous track. Oh, almost a rough collision there in the corner, but nice recovery as we continue on, getting closer and closer to that tomb section.
JiMin holding first, but JiMin he's right now tying for first with AcidFly at 24, but I wish there was a stat where we could see what your average position was throughout all of the races, you know what I mean? Like, not just like what you finished with, but how long you've held at podium in terms of standings, because he has been up there on the beginning of all of these laps. He's been so consistent, and he deserves praise for it. ByungSu gonna take it away from here. No accidents. Oh, wow. I did it again. I did it to DDING twice already now. But like, with how tight that pack was, you're gonna see one, right? I was like, wow, it's surprising nothing happened there. Poor DDING. Well, now he's out down in 8th. And I'm never gonna talk about collision on Terracotta Twister again. It's my 2nd one today.
It's all right. I'll cover it this time. Maybe I can be the one to give the caster a curse. But ByungSu right now going a little bit further ahead as JiMin and HoJun and Will are all really battling for the 2nd place position. That gives ByungSu a lot of breathing room, and as a result, it's spreading a little bit more thin now. As you can see, all the way from 3 to 7, it is quite congested. So once we enter that tomb section, there is chance that we have a couple more collisions, but for these lead racers, ByungSu, Will, and Striker, a little bit unlikely we have that problem. Now here we go, coming into the turns. ByungSu can basically just take the time trial lines because he has no threats really on this one. So these top 3 racers able to navigate it beautifully through that section.
Will trying to actually push Striker here, threatening him there, and he's successful. Don't think he'll be able to pass ByungSu, though. HoJun looks for his opportunity here, trying to get a draft off. Not a lot of time left. Will hold second place. ByungSu, though, with all of that space you mentioned, does cross the finish line first. AcidFly, after a win, a disappointing 8th place, will lose 1 point. And this group just continues to be a mystery. You just never know.
Yeah, AcidFly maybe kicking himself a little bit for coming through with this track selection on Terracotta Twister, as it did not go his way.
No.
But I feel like we see that quite often here in solo matches. For whatever reason, oftentimes, the player that wins the track, they get to choose the next track. And so AcidFly had the map choice, but he gets 8th place. I feel like oftentimes when this happens, you're either in first place or you're close to last, you know?
Yeah.
It's very rarely a middling result for
very
the player
rarely,
that picks the track.
Yeah, it's very rarely you go like, oh yeah, I picked my track. Oh, I'll take a 5th here. You know, it's fine. It's usually either first or last, you know?
Zero or hero, but
man, Will feeling the pressure. I mean, as his Striker here, this is such a tough group. And now we're starting to see a big division between top 4 and bottom 4. It was all close, 1 or 2 points between them. Now the gap is widening as we move into winding slopes. Here we go, round 7 of what may be an 11 or 12 round setup in this losers match, considering how close it has been so far. Striker takes the lead here. Will sitting on 21. He is on the edge of qualification. You can see on his player cam how much pressure he's under right now.
yeah, he's really feeling the heat. But ByungSu right now in 2nd place. We saw his heart rate monitor on screen for a moment. A cool 85, man. He is not feeling the pressure. He's at 29 points. He's tied for first. He's feeling very good. And having that kind of relaxed confidence approach allows you to really race your own game and kind of mitigates your chance of making mistakes, as ByungSu navigating these first couple of turns very cleanly right behind World.
Yeah, Will sitting at 153, by the way, in terms of heart rate. He is definitely feeling the pressure. He's a small guy, he's very young, and making his way into top 3 right now. A podium maybe in his future on this one-lap track, as long as he can actually hold on to this place. Is being challenged by AcidFly as we speak. World and ByungSu battling it out 1v1 here. The Lions World is taking her good. The spin turn attempt is good for both of them.
ByungSu does a spin turn at 61 beats per minute. I feel like my heart rate's double that casting this thing, man. As I'm getting hype, and ByungSu is going to be able to turn that beautiful spin turn into a easy victory, going up to 39. I don't think I've ever seen anyone since we added the heart rate monitors play so cool. I mean, how do you go into that spin turn move with a sub 70 heart rate and just play it perfectly? He's like, you know what? I knew I had that one. That was easy.
So ByungSu won the previous track, right? He chooses this one. He gets redemption, because remember last time in team mode earlier today, he made the spin turn, but he failed the jump, lost his team the race. This time, he makes the spin with World. They do it together. He avoids collisions, comes out of it on top on his track pick. He got to prove to this crowd a 2nd time today that he could make that turn, but this time he nails the landing. Now he takes a 10-point lead over HoJun, and he's just 1 point away from being able to have the power to end the group. But another win, and he will anyways, actually, considering he's won 2 in a row now. ByungSu kind of coming in as a dark horse in this group in a lot of ways after a lot of underperformances and solos, but now in pole position, this guy is looking pretty good. JiMin looking good tonight too. Will's having his moments. This group is just wild, but now again, we're starting to really push towards the end here. Can ByungSu close it out? Let's find out on Forest Zigzag Timberland.
ByungSu absolutely on fire right now, as all eyes are on him here on Zigzag Timberland, the lead racer with 39 points in total. But keep in mind, this is very close. World and Will just a couple of points behind the tied JiMin and AcidFly, as the most competitive group continues to remain competitive.
ByungSu here, all eyes on him. Could end the group now. Ding, first place here. You know, had a bit of a middling performance himself, actually, this group so far. Had some good moments, but staying down at 19 points, he's very far away from qualification, and you know this could be the last race, so gotta make everything count here. World and AcidFly battling it out here as well, as ByungSu just is on fire. He's at that 77 beats per minute, you know, he's super chill. Yeah, and he is looking to take more names here. AcidFly is going to have to prove his sweeping skills. He has been a sweeper so much in the team league. Now has to do it here solo to hold that first place and to keep his chances alive.
Yeah, World with a really beautiful line right there. Able to take first place from ByungSu, as ByungSu's going to try and add to his points total. AcidFly and JiMin right behind him. And keep in mind, all of these positions from first all the way down to 8th have big implications on the overall standings right now. HoJun is sitting at 29, but if he finishes in 8th, that's -1 points, and this gets even more complicated. So really, coming down to the wire here at lap number 2 as World continues to maintain this lead.
Yeah, ByungSu here just wants to end it. He wants to take first place and get that gold, or get closer to gold anyways in that final race here. He's got first place right now. We're getting closer to the end of this second lap. Striker is blocked by ByungSu as well, just not giving him any edge here. He's got one extra draft he can utilize here. AcidFly's been so good at finding these angles. Let's see if he can do it again as ByungSu lags behind here momentarily. As Striker actually has Nitro advantage right now. Where's he going to use it? Have to use it to try to push past ByungSu here in one of these open spots as we get close to those final 500 meters. One more U-turn here.
Man, it's getting so close. ByungSu still in first place right now. AcidFly, oh, with that tighter line, able to unseat ByungSu from first. ByungSu falls all the way down to 5th. I don't know if he can recover and pick up a win here as AcidFly just coming out of nowhere with a beautiful line. 400 meters left to go. Striker with his nitrous is going to try and pass him, but the block is huge, and AcidFly is going to be able to convert that into a win. There will be no 3-win streak there for ByungSu as the race will continue on. And I'm looking at HoJun and World at 7th and 8th place. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, is this coming down to the wire?
It is coming down.
It's getting so close, Wolf. Unbelievable.
He has seen something that we are not seeing. You know, he's gone super observer mode. If you guys remember that from Knock in our preseasons, he is seeing lines, he is seeing angles no one else could see. He is 0.03 faster than Striker here on the finish. And AcidFly, how he uses his cart, it's almost like he's kissing the cheeks of his opponents, because what he does is he goes in and actually bounces off of them and hits them like 2/3 of the way up the cart body and then recovers off of it and turns it into momentum. That's worst case scenario for him, but he's hit that several times. He usually just straight up avoids them, predicts the lines they want to take, and he scoots by. He is having the group of his life right now. We have never seen an AcidFly race like this.
AcidFly flapping his wings to victories time and time again. Can he keep the momentum on his map of choice? WKC Shanghai Circuit, or losers match, round 9. We are so close to the end here. ByungSu 7 points away from closing out this group. If he gets top 2, it is over. And he's been racing out of his mind, but man, there are so many players right now fighting for that top 4. They are not going to give up easily.
Yeah, I mean, with a win for DDING, depending on how this group shakes out, maybe he could actually qualify. JiMin is not all but, he's all but guaranteed, but he's not guaranteed, you know? HoJun as well at 29, just needs a strong finish here to make sure, even if ByungSu does it, that he can get through, but he's lagging behind right now, sitting at 7th place. AcidFly in 7th, but he's pretty much guaranteed. ByungSu, top 3 right now, just 1 place away from ending everything. And this makes me nervous for all the fans out there, because this is the end of solos for some of these players who aren't in postseason for the team league as well.
It's only the end if ByungSu is able to convert a top 2, and he is fighting for it. Able to barely pass World right there. Goes for an ambitious line. We'll take a bit of damage there in that collision with JiMin and slow down a bit, but he has double nitrous in the bag, a little bit more than both of these guys, but unless he's able to actually convert that into a pass, the blocking has been so immaculate, not just from JiMin, but also from DDING. Really stymieing ByungSu right here is these racers, they want this to continue. They do not want it to end on this track. They want to add to their point total and solidify their position of making it through, but I don't know if they're going to get that chance.
I don't think so. ByungSu's just so far ahead. 500 meters to go. He used both of his nitros here, needs to build one more. He's got it there. JiMin going to try to take this out of the pass him, but he doesn't have enough speed, and ByungSu will end the group. 53 points here, and we will see where the chips fall. Will the gold racer, I don't think he's moving on to the next set. HoJun will have to see. I didn't see what place he finished in there.
Third place overall.
Okay,
so
third place.
I think HoJun is safe. I think we have a solid top 4. We'll have to see exactly where the dominoes fall when that leaderboard comes up for the final standings in this group. But man, ByungSu, what a race Came so close to getting 3 in a row. Ends up winning a ton of different tracks, and it's a tie for second, but 4th place is locked. So World, Will, Ding, and Striker, they are out. The top 4 has been decided. They will move on to the final match of the round of 16 to decide who is going to the grand finals.
Wow, World is not going to that final match. He is not going to the group. Ding and Striker, you know, 2 players I think did very well this season, but you know, are not players that I say, well, if they're not there, you know, it's a tragedy, because they just haven't proven themselves to be a top, neither of them are top racers that I feel like have to be in the finals. They haven't, you know, deserved that much respect from us yet. They're very close, but those 2 not going in, Will, the rookie, not going in. Those are 3 racers where I go, well, you know, maybe next season. But World, that's something else. AcidFly over World, did not think I would be saying those words when I told you, I think if there's one player who actually gets 3 in a row, it's World. AcidFly had 2 this, not in a row, but had 2 in this group. Insanity. We just see on the day, sometimes the performances of these players will surprise you.
AcidFly, we were talking about it earlier on the show. We kind of feel like he is criminally underrated by a lot of fans.
I think lowest fan prediction to get out of the group.
It might have been. It was either him or Will, I think. So AcidFly really not getting the respect he deserves, but he absolutely showed up and delivered. Tied for 2nd place there with JiMin at 38 points apiece, as we have our top 4 who will move on to that round of 16 final match. And boy, is that going to be a match that you want to tune into, because all bets are off, man. We have some really unexpected storylines. I think the top 4 from this one, AcidFly, a bit of a surprise over World, but still very solid. We have ByungSu, formerly known as Speed, who's always been one of the best racers in JiMin, in the business. JiMin, who is just a perennial finals candidate, despite formerly being an item ace for Live Sandbox. I mean, make that make sense. This guy is just too good. And then HoJun, the Emperor, barely eking in. It's been a scary couple of matches for him here in the round of 16, so I'm worried about his odds in the final match, but you can never count out the Emperor.
No, you can never count him out. And he will be racing in that final match, and I don't know if we're going to have a graphic that shows who is in there, but it's a tough lineup. It's the ones who won that last time around. So it is going to be very tight. It is going to be very tough. And the Emperor, he might not make it to the finals. I'd love to see him in, but it is going to be very difficult. If AcidFly races like he did today, I think he has a good chance of being one of the craziest underdogs that actually comes through. I wouldn't say quite like Looning level. Like I'd say Looning was one of the players, at least for me, I expected to do well. AcidFly was also on my list of players I think had high potential, but we never saw it. I was kind of looking at AcidFly like, maybe I was wrong about you. You know, maybe you weren't as good as I thought. But then today, I'm like, no, I always knew AcidFly was great. I'm playing both sides, you know. Yeah, but no, I think he really impressed me a lot. Even though he didn't take 1st place, some of the stuff that we saw him do today impressed me more than anything else. ByungSu, yeah, he kept winning. He had 2 in a row. He took some incredible lines. He had that amazing spin turn. But AcidFly, to me, most impressive individual performance in solos, because he's seeing stuff that other people aren't seeing. He's passing and stealing these points away, it seems like. And yeah, he's not maintaining leads. His defensive play is not as good as ByungSu's, for example. But man, I was impressed. Probably pretty clear, but I was impressed.
I mean, it was a very impressive performance. Nothing can be knocked on him, as the upper bracket finals result comes through. KWANGDONGFREECS advancing to the team grand finals with a 4-1 win in Speed over Live Sandbox and a 4-3 win in Item, which was very close. And even Speed, if you didn't catch that match and you're looking at this and you're saying 4-1 in Speed, that makes sense. KWANGDONGFREECS is absolutely impeccable. Track 2 and Track 4 absolutely could have gone Live Sandbox's way. It was so close. I feel like KWANGDONGFREECS, I don't want to use the word luck, but fortune was definitely in their favor in Speed in those situations. They were very scary positions, and if we have a KWANGDONGFREECS versus Live Sandbox rematch of the finals, which, I mean, this is KDL. It often seems to be the way it's going to go.
That's the expected outcome, yeah.
It is the expected outcome. I really think Live Sandbox might have a chance to finally take a victory over the Freaks if we do get that matchup in the grand finals. And you might not think that looking at these standings right now, the 4-1 and the 4-3, but I really do think Live Sandbox played better than the record indicates, especially in Speed.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that as well, and I think Item was very, very close. KWANGDONG prepared very well. They almost reverse swept the Item, which could have been Live Sandbox, and we could have been looking at an ace there. So in 2 different ways, you know, it looked like maybe Live Sandbox were going to be able to pull ahead. But that's not what happened on the day, and KWANGDONGFREECS will be in the finals. Now, Live Sandbox might not make it to the finals if they lose to either Mirean Sejong or Rocks Esports there, depending on which one faces them. We're going to find that out on the 25th. So coming up very soon. It's just on this Saturday. So look forward to that one. That's a big one. And then here's the groups here for round of 16. Basically, everyone that is doesn't have finals next to their name in winners, and everyone who has finals in their name on losers is the group. I don't know if it'll be visualized for you guys, but it's going to be HoJun, Boong, Luning, Sungbin versus AcidFly, HoJun, ByungSu, and JiMin.
Yeah, all the final match players there will be playing in the match that's going to decide who's going to the grand finals. And I'm absolutely with you. I think it's going to be a crazy one as we see once again that lineup right there. And it's going to be a banger of a day on the 25th, Saturday, 6 p.m. KST. Songnam Rocks versus Mirean Sejong. Personally, I think Mirean Sejong are the favorites to take it. I would really like to see a Live Sandbox versus Mirean Sejong matchup, but if Rocks Esports wins that lower bracket semifinals, that would be a pretty crazy upset. So a lot to look forward to. I think it's going to be a crazy finals group for the round of 16 to decide who goes to the grand finals. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm myself giving the edge to Mirean Sejong, but we'll have to wait and see. That match will, of course, be in just 3 days' time on Saturday. So until then, we're going to have to say goodbye. We'll see you next time.
check if my name in your mouth, better add your respect. Otherwise pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone, throw it off in my brain and I'm back to the bone.